everybody, welcome back to The Silver Lining. I'm your host, Juliette Valle, Miss South Florida Fair 2020, and I am so excited because I have an amazing guest on today. Please welcome Miss Alabama 2015, Meg McGuffin. Hi, Meg.
Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm so excited to have you here. I was just telling Meg before we started the call how much I loved her at Miss America. She was a front runner in the 2016 competition and really just made her mark on that stage, so I'm really happy to have you here.
Yes, I'm excited to be here. It's fun to talk about my Miss America experience because I don't get to do it too often anymore after 5 years. So it's fun.
I know. I'm. People are like, why are you reaching out to like title holders? Because my initiative was to start out with this class. I'm interviewing these current state title holders, and then I started with former Miss Americas, and now I'm doing former state title holders. I'm like, why are you doing that? I'm like, because I love these state title holders, and like there are certain ones that always stuck out in my mind, and you were one of them. So I'm like really, really excited to have you.
Thank you.
And I'm really excited to ask you all these questions if you're ready.
Absolutely.
Okay, so my first question for you is when and how you first got involved with the Miss America organization, and what do you believe you learned along the way that led you to your Miss Alabama win?
Yeah, so I began in the Miss America organization through the teen program, through the Miss America's Outstanding Teen program. I was 13, and I don't even remember really how I found out about it. I think I found a flyer at school. I worked, when I was in the 8th grade, I worked for the guidance counselor in my middle school. And so I think that I ran across a flyer, and I had done pageants for most of my life. And so I found this flyer and I was like, oh my gosh, Miss America has a teen program. That's amazing. So my first prelim was Troy University's Outstanding Teen. And it's actually a funny story because I competed literally the day after I got my braces off. I was such a little nugget, such a baby. Competed the day after I got my braces off. I actually had a terrible migraine the day that I competed, and I almost didn't go on stage for crowning because it was one of those migraines where like you're just seeing spots and like I was in so much pain. It was horrible. But my mom was like, "You can do it. Just go out for what crowning's like 5 minutes." She's like, "Go out for 5 minutes, then we'll get food and go home." And I'm so grateful I did because I won that preliminary. I was just shocked. I had never done any kind of Miss America related preliminary. I didn't really have a fleshed out platform at that point. That was just not where my brain was in the 8th grade, right? But I was privileged to represent Troy University for that year. I competed at Miss Alabama's Outstanding Teen right after I turned 14. I was the baby of the bunch. I was, an 8th grader surrounded by these 17-year-olds who were juniors in high school, getting ready to go into their senior year, starting college applications. And I'm, thinking about what I'm going to wear on my first day of high school that's coming. So I was so young, I felt very young. I didn't feel like I was out of my league per se, but I just felt, like I didn't have as much to offer as some of the older girls that were competing.
Right.
Well, the judges disagreed. They thought that I had everything to offer. And I won Miss Alabama's Outstanding Teen that very first year competing. And that was overwhelming simply because, my mom and I realized that my college was going to be paid for. I won a full scholarship to Troy University, a full scholarship to Auburn University, a full scholarship to the University of Alabama, and I think a partial or full scholarship to Jacksonville State University in Alabama. So I really had all of these opportunities, and it was really cool being an 8th grader, being 14 years old and realizing that so many doors had just opened for me.
Right.
So after that first year, had a wonderful experience, got to meet so many people that were involved in the Miss Alabama and the Miss America organizations, and people who really just became family. I stayed in touch with the Miss Alabama folks throughout high school, throughout college, and I always knew after being involved in teen that I wanted to become involved in the Miss Alabama organization and stay plugged into the Miss America organization. I talk about being so young as Miss Alabama's Outstanding Teen because, when I think about it, when I do the math, I've been involved in the Miss America organization for almost 14 years. Literally, I will turn 28 in a couple of months. I started when I was 13. I mean, over half of my life has been spent being involved with this organization. And I'm truly grateful for having it through so many of my developmental years, because I really think that the organization, the people that I've met, the community service and values that this organization has instilled in me has created the person that I am today, and the woman that I am, the wife that I am, the mother that someday I'll be. It's really shaped exactly who I am. And I think that's really what I've taken away from the whole organization since I was young. And yeah, so much.
So you've really grown up with this organization. Like you said, you've spent half your life in there, and that's very inspiring. And you mentioned the community service you've done has also helped change you. You served as a teen state title holder and a Miss State title holder, which is a more rare combination than you might think. Few women get the honor to represent their state at both levels. And I do want to ask you my second question, which relates to all of that, but I did not know you were married.
Yeah.
Congratulations. When did that happen?
So my husband and I got married. It'll be 2 years in December.
Congratulations. I'm late to the party, but yay, that's great.
We were engaged actually for 4 years. We got engaged before I won Miss Alabama, which
oh my God,
we had to keep it hush hush, and it's kind of frowned upon, I suppose, but
scandal.
It was right, scandalous, but it was fun. And I tell people this all the time, but I'm like, if you are a title holder and your partner can stick it out through that year, I think you really can accomplish anything, because being a title holder's partner is challenging, I think, at times.
Yes. I know this is a bit of a sidetrack, and I apologize, but I do find it very interesting because you're not alone. Many girls do have significant others. Like we saw the Miss America you competed with, Betty Cantrell, was also secretly engaged to her husband now. Yeah. And she posted it on the day she gave up her crown. It's out, and we were like, what? So it's more of a common thing, and you're right, it is hard. And you don't get to see your significant other much throughout that year, I'm guessing, because you travel. And there's also no PDA. There's not really much posting. So it's kind of like they're in the dark a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to find somebody who's willing to take that back seat for that year and let you shine and be your most sparkly, beautiful self, and someone who's not going to get, insecure or upset by that.
Absolutely. Strong women need strong men behind them. So yes. I agree. And now back on track with the scandalous romance. So you mentioned that you won your first try at teen, which is amazing. So I guess you served 2 titles under the teen organization. How many titles did you serve under the Miss organization? And how do you believe all those titles before winning Miss Alabama helped you grow as a person with the community service aspect in mind?
Absolutely. So I competed twice for Miss Alabama. I competed my first year as Miss Auburn University. So I went to Auburn. It was incredible to represent my school. Truth be told, I wanted to be Miss Auburn University more than I wanted to be Miss Alabama. That's what I wanted. I wanted the opportunity to serve my school, to serve my peers. And I'm really, really grateful for that opportunity. I got to be so plugged in to Auburn. And when I look back on those 4 years of college, I really think that experience introduced me to people I wouldn't have met, ideas I wouldn't have encountered, experiences that I was just fortunate to have because I was Miss Auburn University. I'm really grateful for that. And then I served as Miss Phoenix City, which is a small town outside of the Auburn area. And Phoenix City truly became my second home. The people there were so wonderful. And I wasn't, I'm not from Phoenix City, but the people of Phoenix City took me in as their own. I mean, they loved on me harder than any community I think has ever really done. They embraced me. They allowed me to really implement my platform and do a lot of community service for them. And so I'm so grateful for those 2 titles. I cherish those titles because I've heard, stories from young women who, participate in the Miss America organizations, and they either, have a poor relationship with their local director or are unable to really extend their reach as much as they want to.
Right.
And I can't say that. I had incredible directors who, they were more than directors. They were mentors. They were, like second mothers to me. And I was really able to, anything that I wanted to do, I was able to implement.
That is so awesome to hear. I love that you say that that community supported you and uplifted you. No doubt preparing for a state competition is stressful, so support does matter. And I also love your school pride. I am currently a sophomore at the University of Miami, and should I not win a state title this year, I'd love to win Miss University of Miami. That's my dream.
Yeah.
They need to bring the pageant back because they canceled it for some reason. So PSA, I know Meg's face is like, why?
No.
You heard it here first. Meg demands it, and I'm just gonna use her to back me up. But I do want to ask. I'm not from Alabama, obviously. I heard there's a little bit of a rivalry between University of Alabama and Auburn, the two most prominent schools in Alabama. Is that true? Is that a real thing?
It is a huge rivalry. Like,
okay.
I tell people I live in Manhattan now, and I'll tell people, yeah, I'm from Alabama, and they'll say, oh, Roll Tide. And I'm like, no. I went to Auburn. And they're like, oh, yeah, that's the other one. And I'm like, yeah, we say War Eagle. People up here have heard about it, but I always, to explain it a step further, truly, if you're born in the state of Alabama, you come out of the womb and your parents tell you you are an Auburn fan or you are an Alabama fan. Like, even if they did not go to Auburn or Alabama, everybody in this state has a side that they take, and it's hysterical.
Yeah.
It's hysterical from the outside looking in, but like being on the inside, it's so real, and we are so passionate about it.
No, I see that, and I love that because we have University of Miami here, and then we have the Gators and FSU, so that's like a trifecta, but nothing is more intense than what I've heard about Alabama. And there was also another famous beauty pageant girl from Alabama, Hannah Brown, who was the Bachelorette. She went to Auburn, I believe. Is that correct? I don't want to get it wrong.
She went to Alabama, but I know Hannah.
Oh,
I've known Hannah for a very long
time. You know her?
Yeah.
What? Oh my gosh, Meg is literally Alabama royalty with Alabama royalty. That is very cool. Oh, I guess she did compete in Miss America.
Yeah, she competed in Miss Alabama 4 times, maybe. And then she also competed in teen. She was, I want to say, second or third runner-up to Alabama's Outstanding Teen. She might have even been first runner-up when I was in high school at some point. I can't remember. But she's lovely. She is just as kind and authentic in person as she is on TV and on social media. I can't say a bad word about her. She's absolutely lovely.
We have scandals. We have Bachelorette. This is crazy. But I will say that I am an Auburn fan. Because my girl Meg goes there, I'm Team Auburn.
Yes.
Okay. So now my next question is very long. Excuse me for having to read it, but I think there's bound to be a very inspiring story behind it. So according to an article I read about your win, you were raised by a single mom, Lisa McGuffin, who made many sacrifices to make ends meet, and you knew that if you wanted to go to college, you had to earn your way through the scholarship money provided by the Miss America organization. And you did just that by winning Miss Alabama's Outstanding Teen in 2007. Like you said, in doing so, you earned a full ride scholarship to Auburn University, and you were able to attend debt-free. And then you also became the first Miss Alabama's Outstanding Teen to become Miss Alabama, which is incredible. That is an amazing accomplishment. And what would you say your scholarship earnings from the MAO, how did they change the course of your life? Besides having to go to Auburn, do you think that having your education paid for by the organization made you appreciate your college studies more? Or how do you think that changed you?
So it's actually funny because now I currently study higher education. I'm getting a PhD in higher and post-secondary education. And specifically, I study issues that surround equity and access to higher education. And a big issue with access is the affordability of colleges, right? And there is there's a large gap of students who come from a socioeconomic background who, even with financial aid, don't want to take out student loans, are scared of student debt, don't want to put themselves in that kind of vulnerable position post-graduation. And I would certainly say that I was in that boat. My mom, like you said, was a single mom. from a very young age, she, explained, look, I can't pay for you to go to college. So we got to figure it out. And we really did see it as this team effort of, how am I going to get to college?
Right.
How are we going to be able to afford this? How are we going to fund it? And, I'm grateful now that I'm much more educated about how people can get to college, these, college accessibility organizations, which I actually consider the Miss America organization to be a big one.
Yes.
But there are so many of these like opportunity programs that can provide these opportunities and the funds for students. But I didn't know that when I was in high school. I didn't understand that. My mom didn't either. So the Miss America organization, I tell people that it saved my life, and I genuinely believe that. It allowed me this opportunity to, leave a small town in Alabama and get a bachelor's degree, which studies show sets people up for success, financially, health-wise. There's so many benefits of getting a bachelor's degree. And so I was able to do that. And then I think with the continued funding that I received at the Miss level, so at Miss Alabama and Miss America, the continued funds, I think, really just fed into my desire to continue learning and to continue growing.
Right.
So that's why I got a master's at Auburn, and that's why I'm now at Columbia getting a PhD. It's because, it just fed this desire within me to look at the systems of higher education that we've got in place, and to really think about the way that the Miss America organization changed my life, and how this program it helps so many young women. But there is also a group that's, they don't compete in pageants. They don't do Miss America. They don't have a talent. They don't want to, right? So how do we help those students who, don't compete in pageants, but still want to go to college, need to go to college, and how we can make that opportunity accessible to other people. So really, I mean, when I talk about doing Miss America and doing Miss Alabama, it's so tied into my career. It's so tied into, what I do on a day-to-day basis, and what I believe in so passionately.
I just want to say that so many people that aren't affiliated with the system just, mark it as a beauty pageant, although it's not a beauty pageant anymore. It's a scholarship competition. They kind of just brush it off. Your story is a testament to how the scholarships truly do change young women's lives. And for those of you who don't know, although everyone probably knows this, Columbia University, located in New York, where, as you mentioned, you live now, is an Ivy League institution. So you are now earning your PhD from an Ivy League institution.
Yeah.
You should be incredibly proud. And I think I'm proud as just a member of this organization to know that one of my sisters, I think we're all sisters somehow, even if we're from different states, different years, one of, the higher ups in the organization has gone so far because of the opportunity she was given. I also love what you said about you and your mom being a team effort. Obviously, you were raised by an amazing woman. I mean, look what she produced. But of course, so many people struggle with affording college. Many universities are just exorbitantly priced. And you said, I know what I need to do, and I need to team up with my mom. And in the process, you represented your state. So you had quite a lot of responsibility on your plate between helping her, getting your education, and then winning Miss Alabama. It was a lot, and you have a lot of determination. So I really applaud you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And now moving on to your big win, I want to know what you felt like when you were crowned Miss Alabama 2015. You said you won on your second try when you represented Phoenix City. You must have been so elated. I want to know what that moment was like.
So if I'm being completely honest, I thought I was going to throw up. I honestly thought I was going to throw up. I've never had that feeling before in my entire life. I don't know how to explain it any way other than I truly thought I was going to vomit on stage. I think going into that week, I genuinely, on everything, did not think I was going to win.
Mm-hmm.
It's unusual for women in Alabama to win Miss Alabama on their second year. Especially after my first year competing. I didn't make the top 10. I didn't win a non-finalist talent. I didn't win non-finalist interview. I didn't get anything, which is fine. Like usual in Miss Alabama. Miss Alabama is a state competition where it's very hard. We've got a lot
Very
of
competitive. Yes.
really, really incredible women who compete. And I really didn't think I was gonna win. And in hindsight, I think that that's part of why I did win, because I truly felt like I had absolutely nothing to lose. And I was 1,000% myself.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't overthinking what I was saying in interview. I could have probably cared less if I slipped and fell on stage during my talent. I just I just wanted to have a good time because I genuinely didn't think that I was going to win. I had recently gotten engaged, which I knew was a no-no.
Scandal, scandal.
Right? I recently got
Bombshell.
engaged. I was like, I wanted to win. I wanted that opportunity, but I really did not believe that it was going to happen.
Right.
And so when it did, I was just, genuinely mind blown. It's an overwhelming night, as the night that you're crowned Miss Alabama. I'm sure it's the same for a lot of states, but you're crowned, you take literally 8,000 pictures. They escort you literally directly from stage into a car. They pack your belongings in the back. Somebody does it for you, and it magically arrives at your hotel later. They take you and put you in a car. You might say hello to your family for like a second. They whisk you away to this rotunda where there's a big party honoring you, and you have to like give a speech.
Oh,
And
you
so
do.
I'm sitting there thinking like, okay, as the brand new Miss Alabama, I have to give a speech to all these people here. Did not prepare for that because didn't think it was going to happen. And then, after that, you don't end up getting in the bed until like 3 a.m. and then you have to be up at 5 a.m. the next morning to go, do local television interviews. And I just remember that evening, the moment they called my name, I thought, there's no way this is happening. And I think it's also overwhelming because in Alabama, you have to move from wherever you're living. You move to Birmingham. You put your life on hold. You take a leave of absence from school. You are Miss Alabama for the year. And
Right.
so I'm not sure that I had mentally prepared leading up to that week to leave my home, to take a leave of absence from school, to leave my fiance, to not wear my engagement ring for a year, to really have my life entirely consumed by Miss Alabama. So in that moment, I was kind of terrified, to be completely honest. But after it kind of set in and I accepted the fact that my life was going to change, I was thrilled and honored and still shocked. I kind of, in hindsight, I'm still like, oh my gosh, I got to do that. I got to be Miss Alabama for a year. That's really cool. I still am kind of in shock about the whole thing. So that was kind of how I felt in the moment, though.
I love that whole story. Normally I just get like, it was a great moment and I loved it. And I love those stories, but you took me through the whole night. And I think that's so cool because we rarely see what happens behind the scenes. And I was asking Mallory Hagan, Miss America 2013, I was like, so what do you do when you see your family? She's like, oh, you don't see your family. You're whisked away to a press conference. They pack up your stuff. You're out of there. So I guess state has a similar procedure. Like you said, very overwhelming. I do want to ask though, I know from just my knowledge of pageantry that Alabama is one of the most competitive states. Usually the state title holder of Alabama always gets top 15 at Miss America. I think in most recent years when I've been watching, Tiara, Callie Walker, you, and more Miss Alabamas have. So you guys are really a great state. What do you think the reason behind your success is? Because we see states like that, and then we see Oklahoma, New York, who consistently produce these girls who are top 15 or winners. Why? And what do you think makes it so competitive up there? Is there a pageant culture where girls from a young age are breeded? Like, what is that like?
So I definitely think in Alabama there is a pageant culture.
Yeah.
Rarely, I think at Miss Alabama, do you find, and I think it's changed in recent years, but in the years that I was very active and involved, you rarely find girls where Miss Alabama or Miss Alabama's Outstanding Teen is their very first pageant.
Right.
you've got, Little Miss City, Little Miss, you've got all these, young girl pageants. I think like all of the Relay for Life organizations in Alabama have a pageant. And so it's a very common thing in Alabama to do pageants from a very young age.
Right.
I also think in Alabama, I think there is a true understanding of what Miss America is at her core, which, I mean, I could go on about the identity crisis that I think Miss America is currently having, but I think in the years past, Alabama, the board of directors, they've all been there literally forever. They have seen trends come and go. They have, all but studied literally this organization. They understand what Miss America does, what she needs to be able to do, what what kind of role community service has in the job and in the organization. And through the preparation process, you are like the most well-rounded and best version of yourself before you go to Miss America. And I think that the fact that Miss Alabama usually does make the top 15 is indicative of that.
Right. And one more thing before I move on to my next question is just, I am surprised that you did not make the top 10 in your year prior, like you said. I keep seeing this consistent theme, though, where state title holders or national title holders even will say, oh, yeah, I've lost tons of locals. I just interviewed Miss Wisconsin 2019 who lost 14 locals and won 4 in her entirety, or no, lost 18 and then won 4. So did 18, won 4, lost 14. I'm not good at math, as you guys can tell. Meg is horrified. Something like that. She's like, oh my gosh, work through it, honey. But anyway, the point still stands is that, there's a sense of determination going back, even if you don't even get first runner-up or crack the top 5, you never know. I think there's this myth that's perpetrated by a lot of people in the pageant community that if you're first runner-up, or if you're not first runner-up, you're not going to win the next year, or you're not going to win anytime soon. And that's clearly not true. And I just think that girls need to hear it from someone like you who did so well nationally and who won state twice, that it doesn't matter if you don't make top 10, you can still win.
Absolutely. And I mean, I competed in Miss Alabama locals for 3 years before I ever won one. And then competed twice at Miss Alabama and won. For me, in my experience, and I think that this is the case having also been a judge, I can kind of speak from both a contestant and a judge's perspective, but the panel of judges is so indicative of what's going to happen. My first year at Miss Alabama, it was a much like older panel of judges. I don't remember if there was like a dance judge. And I was just not what they were looking for. I was not their cup of tea. My second year, it was, I think, a younger panel of judges. There was at least 1 or 2 dance judges on there. And it also, I think, depends on like what they ask you in an interview. Like after my second year interview at Miss Alabama, I walked out and I was like, they know exactly who I am. They know everything about me that they need to know. They know why I am who I am.
Yes.
We talk a lot in like pageant world about like controlling the interview. And you try to do that as much as you can, but sometimes you just can't.
Right.
And so it's kind of luck of the draw, honestly.
And it's interesting to hear that from both a winner competitor and a judge's perspective on it. So that's very interesting. And just one last thing I want to mention before I move on is that you said too, and you're talking about Miss Alabama experience, that you were authentically yourself. You kept it real. You didn't try to be anything you weren't. And again, that's another consistent theme I see is the girl, the year she wins says, I just went there to have fun. I didn't want to expect to win. Of course you go there to win. We would be lying if we said that wasn't true, but you were fine if you walked away without being the winner, as long as you knew you represented yourself and Phoenix City well. So I think that contributed a lot to your performance and how well you did.
Absolutely.
So now my next question is my favorite question because, guys, how I first got into the MAO at 14 years old, which is September 2015. Oh my gosh, it's 5 years ago when I watched that. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You're probably like, yeah, I know, I competed for Miss America. You keep telling me, but I saw Meg and I thought she was amazing and I loved her. I loved all the girls that were in the top 10, and I just thought they were an amazing bunch. But this was like one of the best Miss Americas I've ever seen, and it was how I fell in love with the organization. So of course, watching you place fourth runner up was amazing. You should be so proud. And before I ask you about your experience and what was it like in Atlantic City for those 2 weeks leading up to competition, I do want to read off what you accomplished at Miss America. You were fourth runner up. You were also chosen as the recipient of the Miss America Jean Bartel Quality of Life Award during the second night of Miss America preliminaries. For the recognition, you earned a $2,000 scholarship, adding to the over $70,000 in scholarship you had previously been awarded. And for you guys that don't know, Quality of Life Award is one of the biggest awards you can win besides the crown itself. So you should be so proud. And now I want to know what that experience is like. I want to know what it was like from getting to Atlantic City, the Show Me Your Shoes parade, and then to the actual competition.
Oh my gosh. It was unforgettable. I mean, it was a once in a lifetime experience that I would do 100 times over. It was so much fun. I mean, it really kind of begins even before you get to Atlantic City. It begins, we had orientation in Orlando during Miss America's Outstanding Teen. So, I mean, truly, that was the first time when my whole class got to be together and got to know each other. We took a trip to Animal Kingdom at Disney World. We went on excursions like every night, went to different dinners, and honestly, some of my best friends to this day were built from, from hanging out with girls on the bus to different places. And then once you get into Atlantic City, it's kind of like a reunion. You're like, oh, I'm so excited to see, Shannon from Texas again. I'm so excited to see Taylor from Iowa again. And you're constantly together. You're together literally from like 7:30 in the morning until midnight every day.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like a big slumber party with a bunch of girls, right? You're only, of course, like sleeping in the same room as your roommate, but you're all together all the time. So it really is just such a blast. And you're exhausted, but you're exhausted all together, and you're hungry, but you're all hungry together. And it's just really such a cool opportunity, a once in a lifetime experience to be surrounded by these 50 women all the time, learning from them. You hear so many different accents and you're like, oh my gosh, like now I have a friend in Washington. I've never even been to Washington. Like, this is so cool. And so you're constantly learning about each other. And I think that there comes a point where you're having so much fun that you kind of forget that you're there. You forget that you're there to compete in Miss America, right? And the competition days come, after these 2 weeks of just like girl time, right? So then you have to kind of switch at the end of the experience into like competition mode and what are you here for? And you're all navigating this together though. So it's a really cool experience of just sisterhood and women empowering one another and loving on each other. It's really cool. Show Me Your Shoes is so fun. So much fun. You start to get sad though at Show Me Your Shoes because you realize that in 48 hours this is all going to be over and you're all going to have to go home. So that's when it kind of gets sad. And it rained on our Show Me Your Shoes day.
I remember that. Miss Florida 2015, Mary Catherine Fechtel, I remember watching her on her Instagram, and like I saw it downpour and I was like, oh my gosh, it's downpoured the last couple of years. Like, what is going on, Atlantic City? Get it together.
It's like rain on a wedding day. What is that? Also, MK is one of my besties. We met in Orlando when we were there for Miss America.
She's awesome.
She is just a perfect angel. I love her so much.
Shout out to Mary Catherine Fechtel. I'll send her this clip. I mean, I'm not friends with her, but I can DM her and tell her, we talk about you. Watch it.
I'll text her after this and be like, I shouted you out.
Oh my gosh, please do.
Yeah, I was supposed to be in her wedding, but I was unable to go because I had another obligation. But see, I mean, these are just the types of relationships you build during those 2 weeks and during the whole thing, you know? So show me your shoes. You start to get sad because you realize that it's almost over. Finals day of Miss America, there are so many emotions going on because you're really sad at this point that in 24 hours, you're literally done. Like, you're going home to whatever state you live in unless you win, right? And then you also come to the realization that there can only be one winner. So, right. You know, unfortunately, 50 of us are going to go home. One of us is going to be Miss America and not go home for another year, right? Which is also another terrifying realization, right? That if you win, you literally live on an airplane in hotels for the next year. You've got rehearsals all day long. Also a really cool day because you get to meet Chris Harrison. I think we got to meet Nick Jonas that day. You have these famous people coming in and out, and you're like, what is going on? It's you know, you kind of have to pinch yourself every now and then. You're like, what am I experiencing right now? What am I living through? And you're also exhausted. Let's be real. By the end of those 2 weeks, you're dead. You're like, I don't want to go home because I want to be Miss America, but I also want to go home because I just want to take a 14-hour nap, right? But just a really exciting day overall. It's emotionally a roller coaster, but so much fun. So much fun.
Now, I do have a bit of a scandalous question, not scandalous, controversial.
Yeah.
There's a lot of politics going on nowadays, and we all know it. Whatever side you're on, it's just crazy. And I don't discuss politics, but I will say that I can agree that it's a little bit insane right now.
Wow.
You were but right before the 2016 election, you were asked a very, in my opinion, is a hard question to answer because usually it's frowned upon if girls are not nonpartisan. Right. You were openly declaring your political opinion, and you did it. You had, you know, conviction behind it. You were firmly believed in it, and you didn't regret it one bit. Yeah. And a lot of people feel, whatever side they're on, whether they're red or blue or independent, they feel like, oh, if I say something and I offend somebody, I'm not going to win. You didn't care about that. You cared about being authentic. Did it ever cross your mind, if I answer this the way I really feel, I could lose the crown, or did you just not care?
Answer the call. The next question goes to Miss Alabama, Meg McGuffin. Come on over, Meg. Pick your judge, please. Okay, Tara Kiley.
Hey. According to a poll released this week, Donald Trump is leading Republican candidates by 32% of the votes. Why do you think he's leading by such an overwhelming margin?
I think Donald Trump is an entertainer, and I think he says what's on a lot of people's minds, but I think that the Republican Party should be absolutely terrified of all the attention that he's taking from incredible candidates like Jeb Bush and Chris Christie, who could absolutely do the job of President of the United States. And if I were a Republican, I would absolutely be terrified of that. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
In the moment, I did not think about that. I thought, I'm going to be honest and authentic, and I'm going to, you know, share what my beliefs. I have to say that in hindsight, I do sometimes wonder if that cost me the crown. I wouldn't do it any other way, but I think in hindsight, you definitely think, what if? I don't know how I would have answered that question differently, but I do wonder if I had, or even if I had done it in a different manner, what that would have meant for me, right. My placement. And it's definitely not something I lose sleep over. I think, you know, everything happens for a reason. It wasn't in God's plan for me to be, you know, Miss America. But something that has crossed my mind once or twice.
And I only ask because it is such a hot topic, and, you know, it's even a hot topic in the pageant community as of late. You know, if a girl openly declares her political opinion, what could that mean? Could it cost her the crown? But I just, and again, this is not really a political statement at all, because I do keep it quiet, because a lot of my Facebook friends like to post on either side, and I don't want anyone to defriend me. But I will say that I admire your honesty. I admire your willingness to be open and, you know, be real. And I just want to say that I think that was very brave and very well done.
Thank you so much.
So now I want to know about your platform. Healthy is the new skinny. body is a big topic in pageantry, so I want to know your take on that and your take on a very important platform.
Absolutely. So having been a dancer for my entire life, I grew up in front of a mirror constantly in a leotard and tights or less. So I was constantly just staring at my body all day. Like, your body in the dance world is your instrument, and it's what you use constantly. You want to fuel it, you know, efficiently. You want to ensure that it's working effectively. Like, if you really think about like the conceptualization behind what your body does for in the dance community. And I was fortunate to, I'm tall, I'm 5'7", so, you know, among most women, that is tall, sort of tall.
Yes.
I was the tallest one in my dance class growing up. I was like a head taller than everyone else. I was a head taller, I was stick thin, and then I hit puberty. And when I hit puberty, my body really started changing. I got boobs. I got big boobs real fast.
Love the honesty.
I mean, they just, well, it's funny because I can't remember a time in my life where I didn't think about my body and like what it looked like and what kind of shape it was in.
Yeah.
And maybe that's attributable to dance. Maybe it's attributable
Definitely.
to the society we live in. I don't know. But I remember in middle school, like all the girls, like, you can't wait to go through puberty because you can't wait to get your boobs, right? Well, I was like, ballerinas don't have boobs, so
exactly. Same here. I grew up doing ballet, and we were afraid of puberty. Like, literally,
Yeah.
I was afraid to turn 13.
I was like, I'm not getting boobs. Nope, not. I'm not doing it.
It's just not gonna happen.
Yeah, there's actually a movie, I can't remember what it's called, but there's a movie where the girl like duct tapes her chest.
I know what movie you're talking about. I was just telling my mom about something like duct tape sound. She's like, that sounds painful. I don't remember where it's from though.
I can't remember the movie, but I told my mom, I was like, that's what I'm gonna do. If I ever start to get boobs, I'm just gonna duct tape because I'm not happy. And I didn't eat, so I have a weird relationship with most food, and that also goes into like body dysmorphia and like disordered eating that I've experienced my whole life. But I have a particularly strange relationship with corn. Stay with me on this one.
I'm here.
In middle school, when we all wanted to get boobs, all the girls in my grade were like, corn makes your boobs big. So we would be in the lunch line and they'd be scooping all this corn on their plate. And I was like, no, I will not eat corn. If corn gives you boobs, not having corn. So literally I went like 10 years of my life without eating corn because I thought it would impact my boobs. Well, joke's on me because my boobs were probably bigger than all the girls in my class. So anyway, body starts changing. Enough boob talk, right? Body starts changing. I have a very muscular build. I have a very round, full face.
Not at all. Your face is beautiful.
She's very round, but it's fine. I love my face. It's great.
We love her. She's beautiful.
We love her. So body really started changing. I, just developed a lot more quickly than the girls around me, and I thought that was bad. And I'll never forget, in middle school, a little boy came up to me. We had like this group called the Fab Five. It was like 5 of our little girlfriends. We thought we were being cute. He came up to me in line and he said, is it the Fab Five or the Fat One? And he was talking about me being fat, which I was not fat in middle school. I mean, what? And I put my lunch tray back down, and I didn't eat lunch that day. And that was the first time I remember intentionally skipping a meal. I think, I, like a lot of women, struggle with body dysmorphia, with disordered eating, with, binge eating and binge exercising, over exercising, under exercising. The relationship that we have with our bodies is so complex and so complicated. And it was something that, I've been personally impacted by, and it's something that I've seen so many women obsess over, and they allow it to just control their identity and everything about them. And so that was, it was easy to choose a platform, truthfully, because it was something that I was so passionate about and that I wanted to see change. And I just wanted to start the conversation. And I you know, in 2015, there was the body positive movement, I think, was really just beginning. And
Yes.
I'm so grateful for what it is now. I'd be lying if I said I didn't still have a complicated relationship with my body. And you know, I say negative things about my body a lot, and I know I shouldn't, and I'm very cognizant of that. And you better believe that when my girlfriends say something negative about their body, I, you know, call them on it immediately. I want to hold them accountable. And, you know, my husband does a really good job of holding me accountable for the things that I say
We
about
love
myself.
that. We love that.
Yeah. But through my platform, I was able to implement at Auburn, and then via social media, several different initiatives. We had Fat Talk Free Week, which is where you don't use, you know, negative language about your body. We had Southern Smash, which was an event where we partnered with an organization. I can't remember the organization's name. We partnered with an organization and then actually smashed scales. And so that was like symbolic of smashing the numbers surrounding weight or, you know, measurements that might hold us prisoner. We had another event. I had another event called Love the Skin You're In, which was, I actually got former Miss America Kirsten Haglund to come speak about her experience with disordered eating, her experience as Miss America, and of course eating disorders was her platform as Miss America. So that was really, really cool. I've always been a big fan of Kirsten, so getting to actually meet her and bring her to Auburn University was so cool. Just really a fangirl moment, quite honestly. So yeah, and then as Miss Alabama, I traveled the state and spoke numerous times about, you know, positive body image, eating disorder awareness. You know, I'd go and do these speaking events where we'd play different games to better educate one another on, you know, what negative body talk was, or what, you know, disordered eating behaviors look like. So, I mean, I feel so incredibly blessed to have been able to do that and to be able to start some of those conversations in the state of Alabama and in spaces where I don't think they were being had. And so I am forever a part of the body positive movement, and I'm grateful to have been so closely associated with it during my year.
And I thank you, like, truly, even the bottom of my heart, because I grew up doing ballet. And I went all the way to my Miami City Ballet. I thought that was going to be my career path, and it didn't turn out to be, which is fine. Like you said before, you know, sometimes it's not in God's plan for you. I firmly believe that God does have a plan. But through that, and then through pageantry, those are two institutions where you can be very hard on yourself. And I'm not necessarily saying that those institutions create, you know, eating disorders. I'm just saying that sometimes they can foster through those experiences. But someone like you, who I watched and I thought was literally gorgeous. I remember your gorgeous plain white gown, which off topic, but I love the fact that you chose like a more simple gown. I just thought it was so gorgeous, but you looked amazing, and I just, you know, thought she's stunning. So to know that someone like you has struggled with that, like so many women have, I feel like this is a little bit of a blanket statement, but I think that every woman at least one time in her life has felt insecure about some aspect of her physical appearance.
Oh, absolutely.
And to know that someone that looks like you, who placed fourth runner-up at Miss America, as a state title holder, struggles, I think that brings a lot of girls solace to know that they're not alone and that there is hope. And you mentioned various types of eating disorders that aren't as widely known as bulimia or anorexia, binge eating disorder, binge exercising. These are different sectors of the spectrum that women do suffer from, and they're not as talked about, because when you have some of these disorders, you're not necessarily real thin or sickly looking. That doesn't mean it's any less harmful, and people just don't really pay attention. So you're raising awareness for all eating disorders, and I just want to say that I would have never known that you had struggled through that, because I think you're beautiful, and I know many other people do too. But to know that someone that looks like you had that issue it's actually comforting in a way, and it creates a sense of relatability that I think a lot of people look up to state title holders for.
Yeah. Well, thanks. I mean, again, I think just like starting the conversations, it's like I would be hard pressed to find out that like Gigi Hadid, someone who I think is one of the like most beautiful women I've ever seen.
Love her.
I'm confident that there is something that she, you know, is self-conscious about, right? And, you know, something that I think about more and more as I get older is that, you know, women's bodies are so incredible. Like, we are built to like have babies, to like make children. That's so incredible. And so many celebrities, you know, just because social media has gotten so much more popular, are like documenting their pregnancies and documenting the ways in which their bodies change. And I really think that that also is contributing to this body positive movement. Being able to watch, you know, Gigi Hadid just had a baby, and being able to watch her document this journey and you know, find this self-love in a body that is ever changing, and it is just, I think, incredible.
Women are incredible, and yes, our bodies are incredible. And guys, moral of Meg's beautiful speeches, corn does not stop breast growth.
No, it does not.
So we're dropping scandalous relationship facts. She knows someone from The Bachelorette. She's even met Chris Harrison. She's met a Jonas brother, and now we're debunking science myths. So there you go. This has been a very, very interesting episode. And now I'm at my last question. I want to know, Meg, what is the silver lining through your entire pageantry experience? What was the best part of this whole journey to you?
Truthfully, the silver lining of my experience with the Miss America organization is the people that I have taken with me. I think so often, you know, title holders can get so caught up in their title being their identity, being who they are. And then when they are no longer that title holder, they have an identity crisis. I feel lucky that I didn't have that. I'm very comfortable with who I am. I liked Meg before I was Miss Alabama. I like me now. But what I think has been so life-changing, and something that is a part of my identity that I will forever take with me, is the people that I met. Right. And there are so many people who are completely enmeshed in my life that I forget that I even met them through the Miss America organization. You know, it's like one of my best friends, Danielle, she lives in the city. She was my Miss Montana. She is one of my very best friends, and we'll be out with friends and they'll be like, oh, how'd you guys meet? How'd you become friends? And I have to think for a second. I'm like, how did we meet? And then I'm like, wait, we did Miss America together. Like, how could I forget that?
That's a pretty cool meeting.
Right? And it's one of those things where the people that you meet along the way just become so entrenched in who you are and such a part of you, that it's no longer your Miss America family. It's just your family, right? And your friends. They're, you know, we have a group called the Southern Six, and it's, you know, me, my Mississippi, Tennessee, Texas, Louisiana, and Florida. And we're all so close and such best friends, but it's no longer like my Miss America sisters. It's just my sisters, you know? And so I think that is the silver lining, and that is what I'm most thankful for, you know, outside of having fabulous education due to the organization, but really just having people in my life that I wouldn't have otherwise, and that I wouldn't be who I am without.
Absolutely. I think you have represented such a plethora of what the organization has to offer. First off, with your education and showing how the scholarships are put to use, and then, you know, the career opportunities you've gained out of it, and the way you've been able to impact people with your social impact initiative. And lastly, what I believe to be one of the most important core parts of Miss America is the sisterhood. Again, a lot of people have the misconception that pageant girls are catty towards one another. You prove that it's not the case with one of the closest classes we've seen in recent years, and now the Southern Six, which is iconic. So the Fab Five, though, in middle school, and you were like, we thought we were trying to be cute. Now you're redoing it, Meg.
Oh.
It's repeating itself. But I mean, I just absolutely have loved talking to you. I think you are a trailblazer. You are very inspiring. You keep it real, which I love, and I think we need a lot of that. There's people keeping it 100. And Meg, I have really enjoyed interviewing you today, and I'm really, really grateful you came on my show.
Yes, thank you for having me. This is incredible. I love this. I love you. I wish you the best of luck whenever whenever Miss Florida happens, because
guys, please watch it if you can't come to Florida. You know, if COVID is still a little iffy, watch it on live stream. It's on June 26th, 2021, and I will expect you to be like cheering me on online. You know who she's rooting for. But guys, follow Meg on social media. Follow her amazing New York life at Columbia University. She's a star. And guys, shameless plug, follow me. I will be promoting the heck out of Meg. So make sure to keep up with that. And again, thank you, Meg.
Yes, thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.
Hey guys, thank you so much for tuning into my channel today. Your support means the world to me. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to my channel and like and comment on my videos because your support is what fuels my ability to make content. I'll see you guys next time, and once again, thanks for joining me for another episode of The Silver Lining. Love you guys. Bye!